Jim Collins has written a number of excellent business books. And the one you've probably heard of and hopefully read is Good to Great. But there's another book he wrote called Great by Choice, which has the incredibly powerful concept of the 20-mile march. In Great by Choice, Collins takes us back to 1911, where two world-famous explorers, Norwegian Roald Amundsen and Englishman Robert Falcon Scott, are in a race to cross the 1,400 miles of tundra in Antarctica to reach the South Pole, to be the first explorer to the South Pole. Now, there were some differences in how they prepared, differences in how they packed, differences in what equipment. One brought snowmobiles and one planned to bring dogs. And they had differences in how they put their supply depots. But Collins suggests that one of the key differences was the concept of the 20-mile march. That while Scott was prepared to take advantage of good weather, and remember, the Antarctic could be below zero even in the summer, and they faced blizzards and cold and ice and snow and all kinds of horrible conditions. Scott wanted to be opportunistic. So his plan and the way they executed their march was on good days, they would go as far as they could. On bad days, blizzard days, extra cold days, they would hunker down and stay in camp. Whereas Amundsen's approach was a 20-mile march. On good days, sunny days, they would march 20 miles, but no more. On bad days, blizzard days, cold days, they would march 20 miles, but no less. And it was that consistency in part that Collins argues is what drove the success of Amundsen's expedition. That 20 miles every day got them there. And they were, in fact, the first to reach the pole. And Scott not only was the second to reach the pole, but because of their lack of preparation and how much extra time it took them, they actually all died. His entire party died on the way back. And we only know the details of their expedition because they left diaries. So what is that 20-mile march for you? Now, if you're in sales, it's highly likely that your 20-mile march is outbound phone calls. That's the thing that you know you need to do, and you know you should do it every day, but it's really hard to do. And some days you're really doing great and you want to do more. And on other days, you just don't want to make any calls. But that's the thing that you need to do a 20-mile march on. See, the 20-mile march has two sides of temptation. The first is the easy, obvious one, which is, I don't want to make calls today. I'm not feeling it. It's already noon. I missed my window. I've got other things I got to catch up on, whatever it is. And you don't make the calls, or you don't make all the calls. Maybe you make 10 instead of 20. Let's say you have to do 100 for the week. So your 20-mile march is literally 20 calls a day. So you don't want to do any, or you didn't do enough. But you call it quits for the day because what? You're going to make it up tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll do 30 because I only did 10. Tomorrow I'll do 40 because I didn't do any. But what happens? Of course, tomorrow we only do our 20 and we're still 20 behind or 10 behind. Or maybe we do 25, but we're still some behind. It's unlikely we do the full 40 and get caught back up and get back on our 20-mile march. That's a pretty easy and understandable temptation. But the other temptation is that you actually get ahead. You have that great day where you run ahead and go, I'm feeling it. I'm not just going to do 20. I'm going to do 50. I'm going to do 50 calls today. And the temptation is the next day, you go, I don't even have to make calls today. I made 50 yesterday. I can go today and half of tomorrow without making any calls. And if I just do 10 tomorrow, I'll still have 60 for 3 days. I'll be right on track. And it's those two temptations, the temptation to go too far and then skip and coast, or to not go far enough and think you're going to make it up. And that's why the 20-mile march is so powerful, because it's that consistency every day, rain or shine, cold or warm, feeling it, not feeling it, in the groove, not in the groove, motivated, unmotivated. You're doing your 20 miles, whatever that is for you. So think about what that 20-mile march should be for you in your life, personal life or business life, maybe one of each. But figure it out and start tracking it and commit yourself to the 20 miles. And when you're tempted to do less, thinking you'll make it up tomorrow, call yourself out and say, nope, I am not going to be Scott who comes in second and then dies on the way home. I'm going to be Amundsen and do my 20 miles even though I don't feel like it today. and do it again tomorrow and again the next day because I want to win. I'm not going to go ahead because then I might skip the next day and coast. I'm not going to not do my work and try to make it up tomorrow. I'm going to do my work every day. And in the end, I'm going to plant my flag in the South Pole and I'm going to win.